Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is where you are, and welcome back to another episode on the Annoyed Dad channel. In today's episode, you can see we're in with the chickens here, and just have a look in there. You can see they've all just been fed. So they're down eating the wheat that's been soaked in water that we explained in, I think that was day 2 video. And you can see in there they're eating layers pellets. So they're being fed. But as you can see out here now, there's not a lot about. Like, there's plenty of long grass. This is where the place has basically been abandoned and the grass had got long and the chickens hadn't eaten it down. If you're able to hear the geese, I do apologise. They are being a bit noisy this morning, but they always are straight after breakfast. So yeah, in here with the chickens, there's not very much at all in the way of greenery. Like, these are all stinging nettles, but they're no good. And you can see here that what I did was I actually took another piece of the poultry netting and I gave them some of the geese area, because the chickens eat lower than what the geese do. So the geese don't go all the way to the ground, whereas the chickens do. But just over the other side of the fence, we've got all of that lush grass. So what the plan for today is, if you choose to accept it, is we are going to make a hole in the outer perimeter fence, just down here somewhere, I think. And we are going to get them out and about out there, in amongst all of that long, lush grass. But I want it to be a bit like the geese one that we've done on previous days, where I can build a pen over this area, and then I can move it and I can give them that area, and I can move it and give them another area. So as we can rotate it around. And what we're going to do is, I've got this panel here that's attached to my fence somehow. How's that attached itself? Oh, there we go. Just a bit of overhanging wire. So yeah, it's about 30 centimetres tall and maybe 60 centimetres long, so maybe 3 foot by 1 foot. And it's pretty useless for most things. I presume it was built for somebody's aviary somewhere at some point, but that can then become a door that can be opened and closed down here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get some of the stock fencing, because we're going to use stock for this, and I'll explain that all as we go along. And we are going to mark out an enclosure for the birds. I have just spent the last half hour, I suppose, sorting out this stock fencing. It is terrible. It was like a massive bird's nest, just stacked up, and there was poles pointing one way, poles pointing the other way, and everything in between. But it actually turned out there's actually 2 lengths of stock fencing in here, which doesn't really surprise me. I thought it was a big reel for what it was. So we are now, I keep doing it, don't I? So. I hope you're drinking well. On the other side of where the panel is, that will become our door, and we are going to build out from here an area. I'm going to try to keep it as square as I can, knowing that down in here during the summer this comes up with stinging nettles, so they'll just rip through this and they'll turn this bit to mud. But like I said previously, I want to try to keep it over to one side, so as then I can extend it maybe that way in the future and go from there. So I've now got to try to find the end pole. Oh, that one there, that's an end pole. And I can start building it up into a square. The fencing is now up, as you can see. And I haven't created the biggest of paddocks. It's roughly 3 metres between the poles. So if you look at those 2 poles over there, before it gets to the first turn, that's roughly 6 metres. And it's roughly 9 metres coming down this side here. Mainly because the fence down at that end is on an angle, it's not straight up against us. So we've done that, but this fence, one, it's stock fencing, which is really meant for sheep and that. So whilst the holes at the bottom of it are smaller than the holes at the top, it's not going to hold the chickens in there if they were really determined to get out of there. But that's fine, that's not a problem. I'm not really concerned about the chickens getting out, I'm concerned about stuff getting in. So because we are now down here in this corner and we are on part of the Fox super highway, I don't know if you can see that track just down there. Follow it all the way down to that corner where the fence is down. I've still got to sort that out actually. That's like a Fox super highway. Luckily this time of year it's not too bad, he says, touch wood, because the time the birds are away, the foxes normally aren't out. But however, if we electrify up this fence, which we can do, it's got the silver, come on camera, focus camera. Is it going to focus? No, it's not going to focus. Okay. You have to, there you go, you can see it there. Those two little circles at the top, they're bits of wire. So you can actually electrify up this fence. The problem I have with doing that is that one, the grass is long, and two, I have never had a good piece of electric netting like that can actually hold a good charge. So what we're going to do is, you can see I've put in the extra posts, the plastic ones, and we're going to do like what we've done round with the other fencing. We're going to give it 3 strands. So there's going to be a low strand, a medium strand and a high strand of wire. So I've got the wire just down there, and that can then be electrified. That then gives me the options of, when we expand the run, we can also expand the wiring. We don't have to restrict ourselves just to this one area. It's quite easy just to add on more wire. It's actually easier to add it on than it is to take it away. And if we do it properly, we might even be able to do it in one piece. But you can see, if you look at the fencing, where I've actually doubled it up, because I'd had enough going round in the area, and then I was able to double it up, bringing it back. So we've got plenty of room for expansion once the gills eat that. As long as there's grass in there that the gills can eat, and there is stuff that the gills can eat, they won't want to get out of there. They'll just want to stay in there the whole time. In fact, you can see them just in the bit where the geese were. Where I was saying, because the chickens eat it down lower than what the geese do, you can run the chickens after the geese on there. So yeah, I'm just going to run the wire in now. Once I've ran the wire in now, I did have a clip that I picked up that I've mysteriously dropped somewhere, that I was going to use to clip it onto the electric fence, but not to worry, I can do a hard attachment, as if it were, rather than just like a little clippy thing. And yeah, we'll get that done, and then we'll go and open up the door for them, and we'll stand around for an hour and we'll watch as they don't walk out because they're too busy doing other things. But yeah, we'll try to herd some out and we will see what happens. So with the 3 wires in, you can just make them out there, and they've all been pulled nice and taut. You can see them just on there, that little line there. It's actually a line of 3 of them. So they've all been pulled taut. So if anything comes up to it and tries to go through it, it's going to get a shock and it isn't going to enjoy it. And you can see already I've just cut a hole in the fence, and straight away there's a Mrs. Chicken in there trying to get out. So what we've done is we've cut a hole which is large enough for the chickens. I have turned off the electric fencing, so she is perfectly safe and able to do that. We cut a hole just big enough for the chickens to be able to get out. But you can see there's one of the wires running through, which is for the 3-strand electric fence in there. So that just needs to be cut. Where we placed in the lower level stuff, so the smaller stuff, and this stuff basically goes down and it goes across the bottom there, you can see it there. I've just laid this down. I'm not even going to try to pull it out because you can see where the grass has all grown through it. So the next step is going to be just to take off this wire here, this bottom wire, pin this bit down, and then I think we're pretty much ready to go. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to power the 3 strands. I do have an external energizer, which I may well just bring over and plug that in and just use it off of that, because I've also got a couple of energizers to do reviews on. And everybody loves my reviews videos. They love them almost as much as my clipping wings videos. But the good things with the review videos is that over time they get the views, whereas the daily stuff, that is really done as like a day stuff, and then everybody moves on. So right, I'm going to crack on with those few bits and we're nearly done. Woohoo! Then I can go home and get a coffee. Yay! And there we go, that is that pinned down. So we have ended up with a little extension, and should anything go wrong, or should we need to, or overnight, we can put that grate in there. I will obviously put some stuff behind it just to tie it in, just to hold it in place. But now the girls are free to start going and exploring through the hole and see what they can get. You can see we've got one out there at the minute. There was two just a minute ago. But yeah, that now opens up so many possibilities for us of being able to move the enclosure around and being able to do different bits and pieces with it and change it. It's not exactly as high as I would have liked. Excuse my phone just falling over then. I'm trying to do this a slightly different way. So yeah, it isn't as high as I would have liked. I would like it a little bit higher, but there we go. It is run, as I said, it's run off an energizer, an external energizer. That's kicking out roughly 4,000 volts, whereas our main one on the fence that's in the foreground here, that's kicking out roughly 10,000 volts. So yeah, it's a little bit less, but it's still enough that if anything goes up to it and says, I want to get in there, it's going to give it a nice little shock and let it know that it really ought not to be doing that. So with doing this, we can now start to expand and get the chickens out and about, because we just got so much grass out there. I know at this time of year the grass doesn't hold all of the nutrients and everything like that that the birds might need. It's not as good as spring grass or growing grass, but it's there and we have got so much of it, and if it's going to help to cut down on the feed bills a little bit, then I may as well use it because it's free. I would like eventually, you can see there's an orange gate just, where is it? Just there, there's an orange gate. I would like eventually to go from there right the way down across the field to the far side there with a fence and have it split into two halves. One half's for the geese and the ducks and the other half being for the chickens, and then that would mean we would keep just around the back there by the pylon, that would be kept for the pigs. We haven't forgotten about the pigs, don't worry. I know we said pigs at the start of lockdown. We are still looking. It's a case of trying to find the right pigs in the right place that we're able to go and we're able to get and we're able to bring here basically. So that will conclude today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not already done so, please do hit that subscribe button. Leave us a like, leave us a comment down below. And until next time, tomorrow, hopefully. Yes, tomorrow. Bye-bye.